Hello boys and girls, good afternoon and welcome to Critical English for grade 7 to 8. Good afternoon, Alia. Good afternoon to Shamar. Alright, so the last time we were here we looked at phrases. We looked at phrases, yes? And then we looked at simple sentence and compound sentence. Today we're going to talk about clause and what clauses are. So let's talk about that. What do you know about it before you open your handout? Because of course the answer is in there. Yes. So what do you think it means?
A part of a sentence, something like a part of a sentence.
Something like a part of a sentence. Very good. What do you think, Shamar? Do you have anything to add to that?
Not really.
Not really. So you're going to go with her. All right. So let's go to the slide. It says that a clause is defined as a group of words that includes what? A subject and a verb and forms a sentence or a part of a sentence. So 4 things we're looking at there. How is this different? And we're going to talk about how it's different from a phrase. Yes? So bearing these things in mind. It includes a subject and a verb, and it forms a sentence or part of a sentence. All right. So because it forms a sentence or a part of a sentence, it means therefore that if it forms a sentence, it may be something different from, it may be different in type. Do you think so? As against, we're looking at the last part. Form a sentence or part of a sentence, meaning that there may very well be more than one type. Do you think so? Do you agree?
Yeah.
All right, let's look at that. So we're looking at types of clauses. So the first type of clause that we're going to examine is main clause or independent clause. And the definition says what? A main clause is the group of words with a subject and a verb. So we already established that a clause must have a subject and a verb. It is one that can stand alone and make complete sense. It can do what? Stand alone and make complete. Because it makes complete sense, it can stand alone. All right? And this type of clause is called what? Independent clause. So if we are, and let's look at the context of our country. Our country is a independent country, isn't that so? And it means that we can take care of ourselves. And if it weren't, let's look at in the case of you and your parents. Are you independent? No. Why not? Alia rolled her eyes. Yes, Alia. What? You're not independent. Why are you not independent?
Most things I can't do.
You can't do on your own. So it means that you are what? If you're not independent, you are dependent on your parents. And that's the next type of clause that we're going to look at. The subordinate or dependent clause. And the subordinate or dependent clause is a group of words that consists of what? A subject, a verb, and a subordinating conjunction or a relative pronoun. So the independent clause consists of what? A subject and a verb and can stand alone. However, the dependent clause consists of what? A subject and a verb and a subordinating conjunction or a relative pronoun. And because we would have established just now that, and these two clauses, they operate like a parent and a child. The independent clause is akin to the parent, and the dependent clause is like the children. In order for the children to stand, they need their parent. They can't stand on its own. But our parents, they can stand on their own. They're independent. They can take care of themselves. selves. Yes?
Yeah.
Makes sense? We understand it?
Yeah.
We're not confused?
No.
No. All right, let's finish up. It says, unlike main clauses, subordinate clauses cannot stand alone or convey meaning when taken separately from the sentence it is a part of. So when we have when we have a sentence and we take away the dependent clause, it will not make sense on its own. It needs, although it has a subject and a verb, yes, it does not express the complete idea. And in order for it to do that, it needs something else. And what it needs? The
Subordinated conjunction.
subordinating conjunction? No. Subordinating conjunction is a part of the independent clause. So what does the independent clause need to express a complete thought or to make sense?
The independent clause.
The independent clause. Beautiful. All right, so let's look at some examples of independent clause and see if these clauses that we have here are independent clause in nature. The first one says what? Read first, Shamar.
I know how to drive a car, but I enjoy riding bikes.
So I know how to drive a car. Does that make complete sense? Express a complete thought?
Yeah.
I know, if I come in and say, I know how to drive a car. I mean, I don't know yet, but case in point. Not that is important. Yes. So, I know how to drive a car. That's a complete thought. And it makes sense. Yes? And so it can stand on its own. I enjoy riding bikes. That also, so these two tells you about things that I can do, tell you about my ability. And I know how to drive a car, but I enjoy riding bikes. These two are talking about, and independently or by themselves, they can stand on their own as a complete thought or ideas. So although they're together, they're still independent clauses. Yes?
Yeah.
All right, let's look at today is Friday. Is that expressing everything? Alia likes Friday. Today's Friday. This is probably your favorite line, Alia?
Yeah.
Yes, today is Friday, and many of us. So today is Friday. It expresses a complete thought. It makes sense. I am not feeling well, so I took a day off work. Are those independent clauses?
Yeah.
Yeah, they express. I took a day off work. That makes sense, yes?
Yes.
I was not feeling well. Another independent clause. And of course, these two are joined by our coordinating conjunction. So in other words, these two can also be what? We learned it Monday, yes. Compound sentence. Yes, they can also be considered compound sentences because because we have two simple sentences. All right, so let's look at a few examples for dependent clause. Now, it says after we reached home, so we watched a movie. And the dependent clause are bold, yes? Yeah. So if we take out the dependent clause and you say, and we come in and let's say I come in, Shamar and I come in and say, Alia, after we reach home, what would your expression be?
After you reach home, what?
What? So there's always that question that is left there pondering. So it does not express a complete thought, all right? It needs the independent clause to make sense. But when we add it to, we watched a movie, it will make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
After we reached home, we watched a movie. And that is telling us exactly what we did when we got home. Isn't that so?
Yes.
Yes. Let's look at number 2. Everybody knows the boy who won the Best Outgoing Student Award. Alia, what do you think about this award? Wouldn't be yours, no?
No.
All right, so let's go. So Who won the, so if I come in and say, who won the best outgoing student award? What would be your expression, Shamar?
Who won the best outgoing student?
Who? What is that? Who won it? Why? Isn't that so? Those are some of the questions that will be lingering in our minds. And in order for us to express ourselves completely, or for people to have a thorough understanding of what we're saying, to convey the message correctly and accurately, we need to express ourselves completely. Yes? So everybody knows the boy. Which boy? Who won the best outgoing student award? Final one under the dependent clause. My mom asked me to call her as soon as I boarded the bus. As soon as I boarded the bus. What? What happened? What did I do next? Why did I board a bus? Why am I talking about when I boarded the bus? See how many questions I can conceive in my head? Yes?
Yeah.
And so it leaves our readers with a lot of questions, and we don't want to leave our readers with lots of questions when we are writing. And so my mom asked me to call her as soon as I boarded the bus. It's a complete thought. It's telling us as readers what our speaker did and why our speaker did what was done. Yes? So do we understand how independent and dependent clause work?
Yeah.
Can we differentiate between the two?
Yes.
All right, let's see. Let's see how much. Good. So we go to the task. The task says, identify the clauses in the following sentences and state whether they are what? Independent or dependent clauses. So you're going to identify the clauses, and then you're going to write above them I for independent. Let me write it on the board. I for independent and D for dependent. Independent clause, dependent clause. Yes? And I'm going to give you, because you have 5, I'm going to give you 10 minutes to get it done. 10 minutes might be too long too. What do you think?
5 minutes.
5, pardon? 5 minutes, yes.
the seawall.
All right, are we done? Yes. Shamar. What about you?
Yeah.
All right, so let's go. So we're gonna go interchangeably. So let's start with you, Shamar, since you said you're done. So for the first one, what do you have?
I have independent.
Independent clause. More than one or one?
Pardon me?
More than one independent clauses in the there, or just one?
More than one.
More than one independent clause. So identify the independent clauses for us.
Naomi's mother was out of town.
That's one, correct.
No, she took care of everyone at home.
So she took care of everyone at home. So two independent clauses. Yes?
Yeah.
Alia?
It has independent clause and
A dependent clause?
yeah.
All right. So identify them for us, please.
I could not study, and as the light went out.
As the light went out is a
Dependent clause.
dependent clause, correct. I could not study is an example of an independent clause. What about 3? Sure.
I think it might be dependent, but I'm not sure.
Since she was absent. Just want to make sure I have the right thing. All right. So let's go. Independent clause would be what?
She found it hard to catch up.
So the sentence was, since she was absent for over a month, comma, she found it hard to catch up with all that was going on at the office. What's the independent clause?
She found it hard to catch up.
Beautiful. And since she was absent for over a month is the
Dependent clause.
very good. Moving on. Have some pancakes in case you are hungry.
Independent.
What's independent?
Have some pancakes.
Have some pancakes. It's independent. What's the dependent clause? Do we have any dependent clause?
In case you're hungry.
In case you're hungry. Very good. And the final one. If you're not able to do it for yourself, please feel free to take help from anyone here. Answers?
The independent clause is please feel free to take help from anyone here, and the dependent is if you are not able to do it yourself.
If you're not able to do it yourself. If you're not able to do it yourself. Will that be a dependent? No. If you're not able to do it yourself. So if I come in and said, if you're not able to do it yourself, what's the first thing you can ask me? Do what? And so once it has the question, it leaves us with question, it is a dependent clause. So dependent clause, please feel free to take help from anyone here. That's the independent clause. So nicely done. So let's go back. Let's recap. So we're done for today. Good job, guys. Let's conclude the lesson by, we're going to the conclusion. I have 2 questions for you. Good. So our conclusion today will be done in a 2-part question, and both of you will speak. Yes? So what have you learned, and what was the most memorable part for you?
I learned the difference between independent clause and dependent clauses. The most memorable was probably trying to identify them.
Yeah. Alia. I was like, oh no, that's the same thing I wanted to say. Yeah. All right. So.
I learned what is clause. And the most memorable part was answering the questions.
Answering the questions. At least being able to do it and knowing the fact that you were able to complete the task easily. All right, so today we looked at clauses, and the first thing that we said about a clause is what?
A clause is able to use to it's something with a subject and a verb. It is able to be a part of to form a part of a sentence or form a sentence.
Yes, so a clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a verb, and it's different. That is what makes it different from what? From a phrase, because a phrase contains either or, and the clause, so the phrase can have a subject or a verb, but the phrase has subject and verb and can form a part of the sentence. And when it forms a part of the sentence, is what type of clause? Dependent. And when it forms a sentence and can stand on its own, it is a independent clause. And why are we learning all of this? The whole point is so that when you are writing, is for you to inculcate or to utilize these types of clauses and sentences and phrases to build what we call sentence structure. So now you should be able to be writing at a higher level than when we first began. Do you think that you can do that? Yes? All right, good. That's all the time that we have for today. Thank you so much for joining me as usual, Ali and Shamar. Thank you to the viewing public for spending your afternoon with us. Please stay tuned for math, and I will see you next week.
Good afternoon, Aliyah. Good afternoon, Shamar. How are you guys this afternoon? Tired? Oh, that happens sometimes. But Aliyah, you're okay, right? All right. So could we go back a little to Wednesday? Could we recall what was done on Wednesday?
Relationship function.
Relations and functions.
Yeah.
Agree?
Yes, sir.
And under that, what we did also.
Grouping.
Not grouping, another name. M.
Mapping.
Mapping. Remember that? So, name one of the type of mapping we had.
One-to-one.
One-to-one,
Many.
many-to-one,
Many-to-many.
many-to-many,
One-to-many.
one-to-many. Right? And we would have done the mapping diagrams to show how the relationship between the domain and the range when it is mapped onto one element or many mapped onto one. Right? So for this afternoon we're going to continue on that aspect of function and relation, and we're also going to do some exercise to bring out, right, where you will be answering the questions when we just go do a little recap on functions and then we go to the exercises, right? Good. So let's go to our screen. Where Aliyah, you will start to read.
A function is special, but a function has special rules. It must work for every possible input value, and it has only one relationship for each input value.
Continue.
This can be said in one definition. Formal definition of a function. A function relates each element of a set with exactly one element of another set, possibly the same set.
Alright, so if you look at the diagram, what would you observe, or what could you say about the elements in X and the elements in Y? You have to move the screen a little from the bottom there. Alright, yes. Look at the elements in X and tell me what is happening with it in Y. The relationship.
Like which one of the relationship?
Not really which one of the relationship. Just tell me in your own words what you see is happening there.
Every element from X is pointing to someone in Y.
One or more than one?
More than one.
You sure? Check it back.
No, one.
One. Right. So that is what a function is saying. Each element in X would only be mapped to one element in Y. Now, we could have more than one element in X mapping to one element in Y. Right? But it must only map to one element in Y, no other. If anything other than that would not make it a function. Now, each element in X mapped onto one element in X mapped onto one element in Y. That would be what type of mapping? One element in X.
One-to-one.
That is a one-to-one. But if we have more than one element in X mapped onto one element in Y, that would make it
Many to one.
more than one element in X mapped onto one element in Y would make it a many to one. So a function, we can say, would be a one-to-one mapping and a many-to-one mapping. A function would be a one-to-one mapping or a many-to-one mapping. Now you need to know that for when we go to the exercise, so make a note of it. So a function, it is only mapped to one and only one element in the range or in Y, and it's under one-to-one mapping and many-to-one mapping. One-to-one mapping and many-to-one mapping. So Shamar, continue to read.
The two important things. First, each element means that every element in X is related to some element in Y. We see that the function covers X, relates every element of it, but some elements of Y might not be related to at all, which is fine. Number 2, exactly 1 means that a function is a single value. It will not give back 2 or more results for the same input.
Good. So they would have one element of X mapped onto one element of Y, or they would have more than one element of X mapped onto one element in Y. Same thing that we were going through just now. So let me run you down to this part here where it is showing you a typical example where we have the first one. What is the first one showing you?
A one to many.
A one to many. So we have one going to many. That would not be a function, right? And where we have many going to one would create a function. So that's just a typical example of showing you not just the one to one, but the many to one that can be a function or is a function, right?
Yes.
Good. So let's go here. Remember when we were doing mapping at the last class, and we would have done the diagram to show, okay, all the elements in X can be related to Y by some function, right? So in this case, Alia, read example.
Complete the mapping diagrams below and state the type of relation obtained. One to one, many to one, one to many, and many to many.
Good. So what do we call the first diagram?
One to one.
No.
Wait, the first.
When we labeling it, yes. When we label it at the last class.
What did we call the objects inside?
We had some labeling either at the top or I wrote at the bottom.
Multiplication, adding.
Is the name of those?
Yes. Remember we had X and Y?
The domain
And the domain and the range. Right, so the domain is X, that's the first one. And the range is Y, that is Y. So in this case, what we are saying here, all the values in X, which is -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3, can be mapped onto Y through the function Y is equal to 2x plus 1. What is 2x doing really? They are multiplying. And we know we're given here the values of x. So let's write the first one. Write the equation. Y is equal to 2x plus 1. So you're going to give me the answers as we go through to complete the diagram. Good. So your first value for x is? -3. So y is equal to 2 multiplied by -3 plus 1. 2 multiplied by -3 plus 1. Write it. And then give me your answer. 2 multiplied by -3 plus 1. 2 3s?
6.
Is it a negative or a positive 6?
Negative.
Yes, because it's 2 multiplied by -3. So -6, what does -6 mean to us?
That you owe.
That we owe. And how much we have?
1.
1. So if we owe 6 and we only have 1, what happened to the results?
We end up with 5.
And what about 5? Do we owe it or we have it?
We have.
No,
No.
We still owe it. So answer would be what?
Negative.
-5. So your first answer would be -5. So let's go to -2. So Alia, do -2. Shamar, do -1. When you finish, give me your answer. Then Alia, you continue with the other one.
Negative 3.
Negative 3.
Yeah.
Okay, Shamar.
Denominator it yes, so equal to
Pardon?
negative 2.
Negative 2.
Check
Check back. Negative 2 multiplied by negative 1 plus 1.
Negative 2 plus 1.
Yes.
Negative 1.
Exactly. Ali, you ready for me?
Yeah.
I know. That's why I'm asking. So Shamar, go on to 1. Yes, Aliyah?
Wait, I have to add number 2.
Yes. 2 by 0 plus 1.
2. Oh,
1 being 1.
Okay.
2.
So Shamar, you're 1. Aliyah, you're 2.
Oh, 2. Oh, and 3. Positive 3.
Positive 3.
Yes.
Aliyah?
5. Positive 5.
Sure?
2 times 2 is
7.
4 plus 1. Yeah.
Okay. Shamar?
Positive 7.
Positive 7. Alright. We'll see just now in a bit. Let's go to the other side. We'll check our answers in a bit. So we have the other function y is equal to 3x. And what is 3x doing? What operation? Multiplication or multiplying. So we have the first one. Y is equal to 3 multiplied by negative 3. Ali, you ready? Any answer for me? 3 multiplied by negative 3?
9.
Positive or negative?
Positive.
3 multiplied by negative 3.
Is negative?
Negative. Shamar? Negative 6.
Positive and negative is negative 9.
Aliyah?
Negative 9.
Hi. Where are we at?
Negative 1.
We're at negative 1. You reached to the bottom. Negative 1 is 3 multiplied by negative 1. What would we get?
3. Negative 3.
Negative 3. Aliyah? 3 by 0.
3,
0.
Shamar? 3 ones.
Negative. No, 3. Positive.
Aliyah? 3 twos.
6. Positive.
Shamar? 3 threes.
Positive 9.
Great. So let's get the ball rolling. What relation would this be? Let's look at it properly. Yes. What relation would it be? Would it be a 1-to-1, a 1-to-many, a many-to-1, or a many-to-many?
First one is a 1-to-many.
First one is a 1-to-many. So 1-to-many would be your answer?
Check
I think it's 1-to-1.
Pardon? What do you say?
1-to-1.
1-to-1. Shamar, why would you say a 1-to-many?
because I forgot some of them are because some of the numbers are going the same number, but they're negative.
Exactly, so it's different.
Yeah.
So what are we saying?
Something is
1-to-1? Sure. I'm going to put what you say, right? Okay. The other one. Would it be 1-to-1, 1-to-many, many-to-1? Many-to-many? 1-to-1? Aliyah?
Yeah.
Alright. So let's go. So we have y is equal to x squared. When we say x squared, what do we have to do?
X is second power.
Okay, give me how would we work it?
Times 2.
Times 2. So you multiply whatever number times 2 when it's squared.
No, is that number 2 times?
Multiply that number twice or multiply it by itself.
Yeah.
Right? So let's go. Negative 3 by negative 3?
Negative 9.
Negative 9. You see where we have to put the answer? Where do we put the answer?
On the
Last.
bottom.
Yeah, last one.
And is the answer negative 9? And negative by negative?
Positive.
Positive. So our answer would be?
3.
3 by 3?
I mean 9.
Positive 9. 2 twos?
4.
4.
Positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive.
4.
You see where the answer is supposed to go?
Yes.
Yes.
Second
Okay.
to last one.
4. I wanted you to put your own answer in. That means we'll have to try and get some systems so that you can work it. Okay, let's go to one by one.
1.
1. 0 by 0.
0.
0. Have you noticed all our slots are closed?
Indeed,
Yes.
Why? Because 1 by 1 is
1 by 1 is 1.
2 by 2,
2.
3 by 3,
9.
and all those answers are there already, right? So look at it. Look at your arrows. Look at your diagram. What relation would that be?
Many to 1.
Pardon?
Many to 1.
Many to 1? You agree?
Yes.
Do we have many going to 1? All right. I'm going to put your answers. All right. Let's go. Let's see. So we have simple. We're going backwards now. What the oval at the back represent? X or Y?
X.
No, the first one is Y and the back, the one on the left is Y. The one on the left is X and the one on the right is Y. Right? So they give you the value of which one, the X or the Y?
Y.
They give you the value of the Y. So they're actually saying that those values there are equal to X minus 2. Those values are equal to X minus 2. So let me write one on the board. Y equal to X minus 2. What is the first value of Y?
2.
So we're saying that 2 is equal to X minus 2, agree?
Yeah.
What do we want to find?
We have to find the X.
So we need to send it over. What do we do when we send it over?
We add it.
We add it. So when it goes over, you have 2 plus 2 is equal to X. So what is X equal to?
4.
4. Right? So how do we know X is equal to 4? Let's work it back. Let's find Y back. If X is 4, then we would have, according to the equation, 4 minus 2. And 4 minus 2 would give us
2.
the answer that they give you there. Right? So I did the first one for you. Please do the second one. Aliyah, second. Shamar, third. Work it out so that you can see actually what you are doing.
Finish.
Hey, finish. Answer for 4.
6.
6.
Yeah.
X is 6. Shamar.
So obviously that's like until 8.
8. Okay, you'll get the trick. You're seeing the trick in it. 10. Yes.
12.
12. Great. So you would have observed. What did you observe?
You're adding 2.
You're adding 2, right? Or you minus the 2, minus a number and see if you can get the other number.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Good. That's great. And that is good observation. So what type of relation we're looking at?
1 to 1.
1 to 1. Okay. If you say so. Remember, it's your test. All right. Last one here. Ooh, 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 ooh. Good. So we have x squared plus 5 and they give us y. So we have to work it back a little. Y is equal to x squared plus 5. What is y?
6.
6
Yeah, yes.
is equal to x squared plus 5. What do we do?
Send it over.
Send over
For the 5.
5. And
We subtract.
subtract 6 minus 5 is equal to x squared. 6 minus 5 is
1.
equal to x squared. Do we want x squared? We want x. So what do we do with the 1?
We multiply it.
No, we square root it.
Yeah.
Square root of 1, 1 by 1 is 1. So the square root of 1 is 1. So x is equal to? X is equal to? 1. So let's try the other one. I'll work the other one with you. So we have 9.
Yeah.
9 on here. 9. 9 minus 5.
4.
Square root of 4.
2.
2. When you multiply 2 by itself, you will get 4. So answer for x.
2.
Alright, so let's get the other one before. Alright, let me put it in. So you have what, 14?
Yes.
9. 14 minus 5 is
9.
Yeah, 9.
square root of 9.
3.
3. 3 trees.
9.
I'm sorry. What Olivia said? How
The last one is I think it's 4.
you think it's 4? What's the last one thing? 21.
Yeah.
So, for sure. 21 minus 5 is
21. 21 minus
5. Yeah, 5.
16. Square root of 16.
8.
8.
Wait, what?
What when you multiply by itself, you will get 16.
4.
4 fours. Good. Relation.
1 to 1.
Sure, Aliyah?
Yes.
Alright, so let's check our answers. What's your score? 10 out of 10. So you just had your assessment there where you would have completed online, and you see how you can also use the internet to do practice work and test yourself. So the internet may have a lot of negatives, but it also have extreme positive, high positive, right? So we can use that. So we just did functional relations assessment online that would have marked itself, right? So make use of the internet positively, use it to do practice work that will also help you in your academic life, right? So thank you very much. Your assessment was great. I prompted you to ensure that you got the right answer, and you did well. So have a blessed afternoon. See you next week for another topic. Good afternoon.